What's up, people? Perry here with episode number 13. And in this episode, we got a little bit done here, a little bit to show you here. The first thing that I wanted to show you was this thing right here. And if you notice, I did say that I wanted to make some plans, put something there. And if you watched my other video, which is the Minecraft Inspire series that I just started, that statue that you saw, and actually some people in the comments pretty much nailed it right on the dot, was that, hey, you should put it in your world. And you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna go right here. And actually someone said I should shrink it and put it here, but actually that statue is just about the right size for this area. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of carving out and trying to figure out exactly where I want the statue to be. What is it called? Is it called a statue or a structure? Or I'm not too sure that statue is the right word for it, because it's on such a large scale. I feel that there's another word for it. But I'll tell you a little bit about the idea that was going into this. And that was that the first thought was that I was gonna kind of take away, like you would do in any normal sculpture, or like you would see in any monument, like, oh, maybe that's the word, monument. There you go. But with like a monument such as Mount Rushmore in the United States, yeah, the thing about it was that, you know, those people, when they were carving those things out, what they ended up doing was they were taking away rock. And that's what I planned on doing with this, just kind of taking away rock, and then some sort of shape will emerge. But as time went on and I was trying to figure out exactly where I wanted everything, it turned out that it wasn't really possible. And one of the reasons why was right down here. As you can see, it's kind of thin. It's kind of thinned off. And in order for me to do what I wanted to do, what would end up happening is that she would have had a really thin waistline, and I don't think that would be. I don't think it would look good. But so basically, what I'm going to be doing is kind of taking most of this, and you'll see it in the when I'm actually done with it. But what will end up happening is that most of the structure you'll see it's going to be in stone, and then the rest of it that's on the outside, that's actually not part of this structure here, that will be shown in cobblestone. So it should be kind of a cool look. I think it gives it a little bit of a texture feel to it. But yeah, that's what's going to go in there. But what I've done here, and as you can see, I've kind of lit it up in this glowstone here. Oh, and also, then the time is stopped. If you haven't noticed, the moon's not going anywhere, the sun's not going anywhere. But I've learned my lesson from you guys in the comments. Big thank you goes out to Zachary Wilson, XX Waffle Pancake X, Eric Jean, and Schnicks NZ. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Schnicks NZ. This guy's been very active in the comments, and I noticed him. I noticed you, buddy. And, you know, I'm going to leave a little link in the description to this guy. He's been doing some things himself, being pretty active on YouTube, and I thought I would give him a little shout out, because, you know what, I like what he's doing over there. So go over there, give him some love. And he's been a real creative person, and you know what, he's been a real you know, awesome resource for me, especially in the comments. He likes to leave little notes here and there, and I appreciate you, Schnicks, man. So go check out his channel. Go take a look at what he's got there. He's got some interesting builds to take a look at for sure. But as you can see here, I've got most of this palace laid out. I haven't even got to the museum that's going to be over there, but I know it's just a bunch of lines, and then you know, it doesn't look like much right now, but in the planning phase, especially right now, I feel it's best to get everything just the way I want it. And so a lot of time was taken in order to fiddle around with these lines and try to figure out exactly where I wanted everything. And it's really important during this planning stage, when you're planning out on the main build here, that you just get everything just so that, you know, you end up, you know, finding out exactly where you want everything, because you don't want to find out later on that, oh, this should have been here or that should have been there. And even though I have MC Edit and Creative Mode to kind of help me along and save a bit of time, it's not really something that you want to really go back and redo over yourself. But yeah, but the other thing about this is that I just realized just how massive it is. It's a pretty daunting task. Again, even with MC Edit and Creative Mode, it's still a lot of stuff to fill in. And you know what? I'm actually pretty excited to actually get going on this and trying to figure out all the little details here and there. But one of the things that we need to do first is to work out our facade. And if you were watching in the last episode, things didn't go quite as planned, but I've got something worked out, and I'll just show you, and I'll see you there in just a bit. And here we are in our planning world. And the thing that I was talking about earlier, if you didn't know what I was talking about, the whole thing about stopping time, was if you watched my last episode, I was talking a little bit about stopping the whole day-night cycle thing. And I was mentioning that I could only use that function in Optifine, but a bunch of you, the 4 guys that I mentioned, were kind enough to point out to me that that's not really the case. That you could do other things to bypass that. But yeah, so a big thank you out to you guys. So where I left you off in the last episode was with this thing right here. And the thing about it was that I really wasn't feeling the whole vibe of this. The first thing that I didn't like was this whole blocky area here. It's a little bit too square for me. The bottom area was a little bit too uninspiring. Didn't really catch my eye, right? And someone in the comments, I wish I remembered your name, just like I wrote down all those other guys' names, but I just remembered off the top of my head that I did read a comment. Someone said that it was the yellow that threw me off, and you're right, it was. The yellow wasn't something that I was going for, but the issue that I was faced with was trying to add in a little bit more detail here by you know, putting in different blocks. So that was the idea here. Also, the other thing, I didn't really feel the whole, you know, vertical glowstone here. This is glowstone. I wasn't feeling the whole glowstone thing here. And I wasn't really feeling how it went like both vertical and horizontal here. So it wasn't something that I was going for. So what did I come up with? Well, here we go. Something like this. Much better, in my opinion. It looks much better. This is probably after about another what am I talking about? Another like 2 hours. That took about half an hour to mock up. This took another 2 hours or so after that to kind of come up with the concept. And I know some of you thinking, why does that take so long? Well, it kind of, you know, a lot of it was me just standing there and staring at it. So, you know, it's nothing really to film, but going through the process, I'll describe to you a little bit about what I had to do in order to get to this point. So the first thing that I did was I took out that yellow stuff here. So that yellow stained clay that was there, took it out, just replaced it with sandstone just to keep things kind of consistent. I just felt that I really wanted to put color in here, but as it turns out, it wasn't really working. So took out the stained clay, put in some iron blocks here. These are all iron blocks, and I know that the textures are different in the original texture pack, but for me, these kind of work out well with the whole design of the French Baroque theme. I kind of like how it frames in the window, but yeah, these blocks just kind of work out for me. You can't get these in the original BD Craft, by the way. These were something that were included in the pack, but they were kind of like an alternate texture, and I kind of liked it, so I kept it like this. So yeah, I've added in these on the sides here. So if you take a look over here, these are sandstone, right? And I just replaced it with the iron blocks here. So that gave it a little bit more definition, a little bit more detail, in my opinion. And then you take a look at the bottom here. I wasn't too crazy about the bottom, just how uninspiring it was and how blocky that was there. And you take a look over here, got a little bit more detail into it. Put these stairs on the opposite direction, and if you can take a look from this angle, you see how it kind of like angles down, gives you that little angle down sense, if that's how you would say it. But but as you can see here along the bottom, had these glowstone inset in the back there, and then I kind of just wanted to break up the monotony of a straight line going across like this, so I put in a couple of stairs. That's a stair there, right? Let's take a look. Yep, that's a stair, and just put it in just like that. And it kind of breaks it up for me, so I didn't want it straight across. Just have the glowstone go straight across, I mean. Again, more glowstone here, and I really wanted to give some girth to the pillars, because if you take a look at, well, any real world type pillar, usually the bottom is more of a wider base than the top, and that's usually because just for stability's sake. So it adds a little bit of realism in the build. Whereas over here, again, it wasn't that far along development wise, but you know, I couldn't move any further from this. You know, I kind of had to start over and come up with something like this. So a little bit of added detail here. What else? Up here, again, I kind of mirrored the stuff that was going on here. And just a little bit of pre-planning ahead, and I did think ahead a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. Right here you can see these little nubs sticking out, just like that. And that is because when I go to plan out the interiors, and I'll try to demonstrate that for you. You know how when you're, you know, building something, especially something with multiple floors, and I'll do this, I'll just put this down here, just for kicks. So you got the floor here, you have floor here, and then you have the ceiling up there, and this is a really high ceiling. I'm just noticing this for the first time, just how high up it's going to be. But so you have a floor here, and you want to put a pattern in. So you put in your whatever pattern you decide to put in, and then you know you decide to decorate the ceiling in whatever pattern you want to do that in. But what ends up happening is that when you go to the next floor, you know, what you don't want is you don't want the same pattern on the first floor for the ceiling repeated on the bottom of the second floor. So what I ended up doing was that I kind of separated the two just like this. So each floor gets its own pattern. And because I build on such a large scale, it's much easier for me to separate the two. I know that if you're building on a smaller scale, it's not really something of an option for you. But because I have that generosity of space, I'm able to do it here, and I might as well take advantage of it while I can. But you can see here I've separated out the floors, and there'll be like a little space here just to put in, I think I'll just end up putting in sandstone, just kind of like a base layer, just in case I wanted to leave in some textured elements, or you know, get some dimension to the builds. You know what I mean by like putting down you know, a depth here. So that would be the idea there. So a little bit of planning ahead, and you know, a little bit of planning ahead goes a long way. So that's what I got going on there. And with the roof, and I did mention it in the last episode, was that this roof line here was a little bit too boring for me. Something that, you know, I really wanted to change around. So what I came up with was something like this. Now you can see I kind of have like a little arc shape here to the roof, and that's because I have this, these are lapis blocks right here, and it kind of forms this little arch shape. And that gives a little bit more detail to the build, a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more flow to it. Instead of it just going straight across, I get a little bit more of an arc to it, and it kind of, I'll show you in a bit, but it kind of just flows back and forth. And so you can do the mock-up, and then I kind of just replicated it over and over, and you come up with something like this. Actually, I'll show you this one. Come up with something like this. There we go. So you can see what I mean there. It's got that little bit of a flow to it, and you know, that's what I was going for, a little bit of an interesting more interesting part of this build. Really, I think of this as more like a 2.0 version of this, you know. So that's 1.0, this is 2.0. And I'm really quite proud of the way it came out. And the other thing that I did was put in these little cap tops here. I thought I'd give it a little bit extra definition, because again, I wasn't too crazy about the roof and how boring it was. So as you can see here, I added these little caps, little something extra to kind of break up the monotony of the roof here. But the next thing that I want to do is that I can't just, you know, have this one facade and then keep it straight going across the entire length of the palace. Of course not, because again, you want to break it up, you want to add in more detail. And so that's what I got working on here, and this is pretty much as far as I got. I'm trying to extend out. You can tell here I have the original facade in here, and then I'm trying to brace up this area here, try to add in something of it's kind of like a focal point, I guess you could say. But that's what I'm going for here, and I'm gonna get on going with that, and I'll give you a little bit of an update in just a bit. And here we are back in our planning world, and as you can see, I've taken a little bit of the mock-up and put it here. This is not the final location of where I want this to be, but I just wanted to get a sense of the size and the scale, and try to figure out where everything's gonna be. But I can see here that this is actually a lot larger than I thought it would be, and I think that I will have to make some alterations here and there. You can tell right here, there's this alternate facade here, so, and it's still a work in progress. I'm still working on it. Lots of little details to add in here and whatnots and stuff like that. It's funny because it's something that I say whenever I run out of words. I say whatnots and you know what's and stuff like that. But yeah, but you can see here, I have the original facade here and then the alternate. And the idea behind the alternate is that it creates a little focal point for you to look at. So, you know, you start off here and then you kind of, your eye kind of wanders out from there. And that goes all back to the my first episode, the whole principles of design. That's one of the things I try to focus on whenever I'm building something. But of course, this is not the final product, and I don't think that this facade will necessarily be in this particular area, but you know, I just wanted to get a sense of scale for this area. But actually, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think of this episode and how the flow is. I'm still trying to get my flow going on with all these editing and putting these episodes together. So leave a comment down below of what you think of it, or really just any comment, whatever's on your mind. I love interacting with you guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you so choose. If you so like this episode, really helps me out a lot. And if you're new to this channel, or if this is the first episode that you're seeing of mine, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you so choose. Also keeps you up to date on all the stuff that is going on in my channel. So again, that's it from me. Always remember, keep your head up, and I'll see you in the next one.